Hey everybody, before you continue watching the video, make sure you give the channel a like and subscribe. Go and follow us on Instagram. Go and check out all the different social media scenarios. Make sure if you're enjoying the content, go there, like, subscribe, follow, so we can keep putting stuff out. If you've got any questions, leave a comment. All right, make a comment on either of our pages and we'll answer them as soon as we can.
Do you prefer Gi or Nogi, personally?
Gi, I prefer Gi.
Do you prefer Gi?
Yeah. So like when I first started, like I trained in Gi and Nogi, and I made a decision like when I was I think after I got my blue belt that I couldn't divide my time equally between them. Like so, like jiu-jitsu is like not my whole life. It's a part of my life, and so like I want to do other activities and I have other responsibilities. But I felt, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but I felt that trying to split my time between them, if I could do two classes, one was this and one was that, I just prefer to just focus on one area. And subsequently, I'll tell people that that's not the right way to do it. You should do both. Yeah. But what I ended up doing is that like I stopped doing no gi and I focused just on gi. And because of that, I'm much better in the gi, I feel, and I'm more comfortable in the gi. Although the last two competitions, like I got knocked out first round in gi, and I medaled in both no gi. So go figure. But I from I think it was like purple belt onwards. Brown belt onwards. I focus a lot more on the gi. But I like the gi because I like to slow things down. I'm a small guy, and 90% of the people that I train with are at least 10 to 15 kilos bigger than me, especially in my morning class. Actually, the average is 20 kilos more than me. They're all around about 90 kilos and I'm 70. A gi allows me to slow them down a lot. And then I frustrate them, they burn out. And that's part of my game is that like I like to play like a bottom open or a bottom half. And I like to use the gi to minimize their movement. And then they try to pull out, I pull them in, they try to come in, I push them out, and I slowly just burn them down. In no gi, I don't have that luxury because you can't grab on as much. And so I do like, and I
then Brenda puts his fourth gear, and goes to the scramble.
Correct. Yeah, that's definitely my superpower. But I also, there's something about using my gi or using their gi to submit someone that I find like amusing, to be honest. Like I enjoy it, but like to use your gi and then I'm using it to choke you makes me laugh, to be honest. And so I like that. But like since brown belts, and when I got my brown belt, I went, I need to start like focusing more on no gi. So I've gone back into doing that. And I like both. To me, they're different. There's similarities, and they complement each other. And this is what I didn't understand at a blue belt level. I kind of thought this is different, and this doesn't help this at all. Wrong. The better you get at no gi, and then locking things down and controlling without these grips, the better you're going to be at using grips. Or if you can't use grips in gi, to shut things down. But it makes a much tighter game. Because then when I transitioned from going from just doing purely gi at the brown belt level to doing no gi, like everything was wide open. And like what I said, like in the scramble, I could get on top of people most of the time because I'm quick. But it wasn't clean. It wasn't crisp jiu-jitsu like technique. It was sloppy. So like over that, like the time through brown belt into black belt, I've worked on that a lot more. And I enjoy both. I like both. But if someone goes, you can only do one for the rest of your life, it'll be gi. For sure.
How about you, a professional athlete, you have to get good at both because there are competitions on both. They have prizes on both, and it's a different But there is always one that you like. You know, like, would you prefer one?
No, I don't really prefer one. Like I've talked about this a little before, but like I always look at things as like not one better than the other. It's always like there's good things about this and bad things about that. It's always like this middle ground kind of view. Like, man,
and it's definitely not
I really enjoy both.
Worse.
Yeah, correct. There's no.
I don't know
it's
one's better or worse.
Kind
I
of
just
like,
like.
you feel more like it most of the time.
But that's what I mean. Like I enjoy these aspects of this, and I enjoy these aspects of this. It's hard for me to pick one.
It is a good point.
And like the thing that I would say, like in my opinion, the biggest difference between the two is just the amount of friction involved. Like you're saying, the gripping, the this and that. Yeah. So in the gi stuff, you have a more systematic approach to attacking from the guard stuff because you can grip the guy in a way that it's much harder for him to detach from you. Particularly also because of that friction, you get better at technically escaping things. Why? Because there's more friction. You can't just blow out of things and bust out of stuff as easy. You have to technically learn how to remove yourself from the control, detach and get out. So the friction creates all of these dilemmas in the gi stuff. On the bottom, it's actually a lot of the time it's easier for you to control, like you're saying.
Yeah.
All right. When you're doing guard and things like that. If you're stuck in bad positions though, it's way harder.
Yeah.
It's way harder to maneuver out. It's way harder. You got to be even more accurate with how you apply the techniques to remove yourself from whatever control the person has. In the no-gi, I think the thing that it becomes more difficult is actually controlling another human being because there's a loss of friction. So you have to be way more accurate with timing.
Yes.
You can't be so systematic. There's a small window, and if you miss it, you missed it. So you have to be way better at. I always use the analogy of you lined up the crosshairs of the sniper. And once it hits the target, you better pull the trigger because if you miss it, it's gone.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I think you work on more in the no-gi stuff. It's way easier to just scramble out of stuff and do whatever. So controlling another human being is way more difficult. So you're going to learn how to control or reposition yourself and stay in good position more in the no-gi stuff. You're going to be way more reactive and capitalizing on stuff way quicker. Oh, there's an armbar, bang, got to the armbar and you found it. Because if you hesitate, you miss, whatever, the opportunity's gone. And in the gi, you can be so much more systematic with everything. You can learn how to control a human being and hold on to them and do this. But, you know, like as a catch-22, like when you're trying to remove yourself from stuff, you have to be way more systematic with everything you apply.
And that's kind of what I learned. Like to abandon no-gi at the blue belt level was a mistake. And like, if I can give anyone advice, like, you know, from day one, do both.
Thanks for watching the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you give it a like, subscribe, and a follow. Check out all our different social media platforms. There's heaps of content coming out. There's different snippets and content on different platforms. So make sure you're on everything. And again, if it helped you out, recommend to somebody else, and hopefully it'll help them out too.